After taking a break to focus on the coverage of the presidential and parliamentary elections, we are back with the final edition of Bloggers Forum for the year 2020. In the next 60 minutes, we'll focus on the performance of the arts. We'll analyze, assess, and review and see what the year 2021 looks like as we battle coronavirus. My name is Benefo Boabin Abrantipa. It's refreshing to be back, and it's great to have you on board. Welcome to Bloggers Forum on Ghana Web TV. Welcome back. It's Bloggers Forum on Ghana Web TV. My name is Abrantipa. Before I introduce my guest, you know the show started this year, early this year, and every week my guest and I, we sit and then we come your way with a riveting discussion. We look at issues affecting the arts and then they speak their views. Here are some bites from previous editions.
I think what he
no,
did.
But I would say this is smart guy.
Yeah.
I guess that I'm waiting for the what next.
Yeah, I don't think that we have to wait for what next.
And I make my bra. Today you are denying funny face. It's not my bra. Today you are denying funny face. I don't know him. You don't know funny face. It's not my brother. You don't know funny face. Me man on come.
Me from TV3 incidents to you see me na me face a plan. Me who say be for me who say as I'm planning. Ah, because I say na I say e ba for my TV3 buy ya boom.
Yeah.
Na e ko yiti ya say me patcho. O patcho say. O patcho. Obi abo.
Right, so those are some of the bites, but there's one that we actually reserved. We decided to play that one separately because she's the only female who has been appearing on the show, and anytime she comes, the ladies in the newsroom, they are happy about her performance. So, Vida Nduchumwa also gave us some bites. It was the Tracy Boache and Miss Bell saga. And this video actually went viral. Let's take a watch. We'll be back.
Tracy Boache and Miss Bell. Almost all mama BB account. Anna, what do you think about what do you think about what is going on?
Hey, I said maba. That rant on both sides, no. And you're shameful, and you're disgusting, and you're distasteful, and one brother become, and you're unsavory, and a sheer display of stupidity. Meaning, some first step in Kawa.
Nabi.
Eddie, no. Chese, you know, big kunu, and what to dying up to car, my. So all of a sudden, so to East Legona, you are the wisest and the most enterprising girl ever Ghana Hana. Mo kahuna se saying kwalana ebano, only investing in educational or full set to kesiya or value chain degree. You get it? Yet see her. Or before said you hear no so be pumping in
We dey promo ni pe.
Na
value degree. Ah, we dey promo. And you promo mama.
What's my say? Look at how we are, training our young girls coming up. And okay? And we will say it as it is. Tracy Boache, Nyantitiepa, Suro Nyame, Neja Jimmy no. Okay? Miss Bell, so when you to fupa. Nature papa ma young girls ne mefa ho. So ofo say wo tease obi say obi kuna ye nyina ye da ho na wo ba be ko ho. Mu nyina munya Jimmy no. Train the young girls the way they should go. They look up to you. Look at these WASI candidates. They get the guts to pick a phone and insult the president because Apo Ama. It's because of these character traits who display our TV. So, for some time now, you music videos from these SS students they were twerking all over the country, and then we ask ourselves, stop.
Right, so that's Vida Educhumwa Boatin, and it was actually Arnold who introduced her to me. There was there was a time when I was like, no, I need a lady on the show. And so Arnold said, Abrantipa, there is this lady who has done the job for a very long time, so speak to her. And then I spoke to her, and we invited her, she came, and I'm sure that everyone who watched her performance was happy about how she did justice to the topic. We say, so the adage may not fit in, but of course, if Arnold makes a recommendation, then it means that, yeah, Ejawum. So a lot has been happening this year. There was the Nana Mama Brown deep kissing the child, which brought about a whole lot of controversies. Fela McCarthy staging her collapse at her own wedding. Well, she says she staged it. Me, I don't know. Joyce Blessing and the husband separating with Julie J somewhere at the center of the controversy. There was also the Papano, Joe Metal versus Patience Nyako. That was where Arnold said the question that the journalist asked was a damn question. So Uncle to Joe Metal nyom. Now you say Omuntem Aguanaze Ngoye. Stoneboy was also fighting Sarkodie and his manager, Angel Town. There was Kelvin Boy who was attacked at Ashaiman for some comments that he made. Shatawale and the 2 million cash controversy with the Exim Bank. Now I'm sure we've started seeing the videos of the products, the One District, One Factory. Funny Face and the baby mama. Nana Romeo was also trending for sacking Kiddy from his studio, and then when the Shea storming out of Accra FM studio, there was also the village, the film village saga, Showbiz personalities joining politics, Eno, Sister Fia, Frida Rhymes battle, AY Poyo getting some elevation in the creative industry bill which has been passed, and then the Kumerica craze that we have new rappers in the scene. And just recently, I think 2 days ago, or 2 days ago, Davido and Burna Boy, they came here to end SARS, interestingly, but there is some bit of confusion over there. So these and many other issues that we'll be looking at, we just have a review of how the year has been and do some projections in 2021. COVID is still around though, yes, so we'll see what happens. My guests are seated. My extreme left, Arnold Asamoah-Bedu. Arnold writes for entertainmentgh.com, very opinionated and on social media. So Arnold, welcome. I'm coming to you. BBI fine. Nice one. Vida Educhumwa Boatin is a columnist. You can call her the firewoman. Vida, welcome.
Thank you.
Nene B, Tony, and Nene. Nene is a columnist. Nene is Oton Sase. So we're having a conversation behind the scene, and you said you are not a Christian, right?
I'm a Christian.
You're a Christian,
yes.
But you worship the.
No, I'm a Christian.
Oh, okay.
You call like this.
So he says he's a
No,
Christian.
I just made a joke.
That.
It's okay.
But you know, it was I who requested that we have a female on the show.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to point that out. I'm a feminist, so.
And the first time you met her on the show too, it was fire.
Yeah.
It was fire. How's the Christmas been for you anyway?
For me, you know, I was in Adam most of the time. I came to Accra a few days ago. I came to Accra specifically for the Stoneboy and Davido event. And a well-planned, well-executed event. And I enjoyed that one. It was wet. leaving the comfort of my little village for. So, yeah, that
went well.
It went well.
Vida has been quite busy from one show to the other, and finally she had a gig. emceeing the NPP's Thanksgiving service. I mean, I was happy to see that anyway. I said, Cash in Dawson.
I don't know if I should call it a gig.
What was it?
I didn't. Service.
Okay.
Render service. Well, we'll talk about that.
It can never be free.
Behind the scenes. Yeah.
So how was it for you?
It was humbling, you know. It was enlightening. I had not been in that space, you know, for, I don't know, I think it was my first time having president, the vice, speaker, chief of staff, everybody seated and they are listening to you speak, you know, call out the order of events. I needed to be very specific. You don't have to be unnecessarily funny and try to make things look so lively when it's not really needed. So for me, I took it cool and I did what I was expected to deliver. So it was well done. Yeah, thanks to Lord Comey. I mean, the guy he's just a genius. He's a master at it. I mean, he gives you the direction and you go do it. It just flows like that. So thanks to him.
I see.
Yeah.
And some emceeing lessons there. There are some people, you know, when they MC some events, because maybe they don't have the knowledge about the event or they are not masters in terms of emceeing, they tend to MC the way they like, not focusing on the personalities over there.
I did my research actually.
Yeah.
I did a whole lot. I mean,
so the research there.
I was told like a week before. I mean, did you? Charlie, I'm thinking about what I'm going to say. Yeah. And my intro and all. My mirror really suffered. I was rehearsing my intro like crazy. And lo and behold, when I got there, they were like, "Hey, go there, give us the intro, let the whole Thanksgiving, you know, start." I'm like, gosh. Is this a prophecy or what? And so it was nice. I mean, I enjoyed myself.
For the first time, I understood something about Arnold. I got to know how he is able to package, if it's appraisal, how he's able to package it, and if it is insult, how he's able to package it and give it to you. Like, you see the package and say, this is really nice. Not knowing he was born on 26th, Boxing Day. I am packaging him, Arnold. So a day after Christmas is your birthday. How did the Christmas and the whole celebration go for you?
Well, for me, it has always been a sober birthday celebration. But for some reason, this year's birthday was done live on air. And it's been the first time that we've, you know, in 14 years I've done it, same with on Peace FM, that I've had to celebrate the birthday live on the show. So on a day of the event. Yeah, something like that. So, because usually we are always on break. We are always on break. So this time around, it almost became a public event via, you know, the entertainment review platform. So it was good. I mean, the well wishes and the warm regards that came through were enormous. And seriously, I knew that I had following. I was loved, but I didn't know it was on a certain pedestal. It was huge. And so, I mean, I know that Samabedi has become a brand. I need not forget about that fact. Yeah. So I must really check my ways. Yeah. You know, check the places I go. Is that in public yet? Oh, which one? Other thing.
But there were Momo. He has to account to us. It was a gig. Yes, the whole birthday was a gig for him.
Yes, some people started giving me Momo and things.
So you need to account.
Yeah. I would account. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'll do that. But I mean, big ups to everybody who sent messages and sent in calls and all that stuff. I'm really appreciative of the gesture.
Nice one. The show has just begun. I understand we have our guest via Zoom. Is AY Poyo on? Who do we have on Zoom? AY Poyo? Yeah. Gotes.
Us.
How be?
Everything cool.
Nice. Now, uche you need to her kakra. O konbetio.
I'm on standby.
How has the year been for you? You're one of the discoveries for 2020. How has it been for you?
I should know that.
Oh, Okay, my breakthrough was in 2020. It's almost end, so I can use the words because I plan to, do one or two, three things to enter into the industry. And it wasn't happening in 2019, 2018, 17, but it happens in 2020. So I'm very grateful with that. The year wasn't okay. Like, I think the year 2020 has, done many things to some people and, the entire world. Because 2020 is a troublesome, if there is a human being, like it's a troublesome year. So I think they have to recreate 2020 and it will come back again because it wasn't so good. Though I blew in 2020.
What do you think?
How things was going wasn't cool. So we just trying to give say bye-bye to 2020 tomorrow. So
okay.
Just
what do you think worked for you?
When do I what?
What do you think worked for you? How were you able to break through?
Okay. I think with the COVID, it was stressing people out there, but to me, it pushes me a lot because people were inside, indoors trying to protect themselves from the COVID pandemic, and I was working. So me putting my work out there on the internet was one particular thing I benefit from the COVID, that whole stress. When you are inside, you have nothing entertaining stuff to, based on to, live life. That was the difficult times in life, I think 2020. So when I put my work out there on the social media, on YouTube, anywhere, people were streaming it because they weren't having any source of entertainment to depend on to, reduce stress and, depression.
Okay.
So I think I also use that 2020 to make something at least.
Would you say you've benefited financially enough?
Come again?
Would you say you've benefited financially? How substantial is it?
No, but I've benefited from the recognitions from other countries and other people. It's not easy for being in Ghana and other people from South Africa, Zimbabwe, Southern Sudan, Botswana, Cameroon, all the East African countries to like your crafts. I didn't benefited in terms of cash, money, the financial aspect, but we now bring creating the brand. We now polishing the brand. So the recognitions really needs before the money. So in 2020, I just benefited from recognitions and stuff. But the money aspect is not coming yet because no one was just organizing a show because of the pandemic. So okay. I think I didn't benefit any financial something from.
Okay, so in 2021, where do you want to get to? What should we expect from AY Poyo?
Okay, how we started with fire, that's how we keep pushing it with fire because the year 2020 was not okay. We cannot compare it to 2021. So I think everybody should watch out because even when we were inside, not, we were confined, like we were putting into a particular place to, you know, not coming out without this pandemic. I was still working, and you know, it was fire. So imagine when we are outside, you know, everybody is doing his or her own thing. Just imagine, everything will be fire. So they should expect my album coming next year, and then my other things, the the featuring.
Yeah. You know what has come to mind. So my colleague Elsie interviewed AY Poyo, and he said, "Do you accept your work?" And he said, "Oh yeah." I was in a work, no, as I was there. Was it? I said, "Oh, rap on it." Oh, I know I'm going when he was. So
there are some words that is in English that people, me for instance, when I hear those words, I think it's nice to use, especially something like condolence. Condolence is a nice word, but the first time I heard it, I was like, yo, using it anyhow, because it sounds nice in my ears. So
do you remember how you used it the first time?
Even if you say, yo, Poyo, I was like, yo, bro, my condolence. Watch out. So, but I just realized condolence is used for funeral, so I'm waiting for anything like black, then I'll use it.
Okay. AY, thank you for joining us. We wish you the very best in 2021. And I hope and pray that you get money from your sweat.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. So that's AY Poyo. AY Poyo is out with a new song, Gotes. Gotes. So you may want to check it out on YouTube. Let's come to the studio and have a discussion on that. But let's start on this note. Arnold, AY says he didn't make financial gains, but he's happy about the fact that he became popular and no. How does he translate the popularity into cash, money?
Well, I've always maintained that popularity without cash is stupidity. Because what's the point? I mean, being popular and getting all the accolades, moving around town, people mentioning your name, recognizing your face, and then you go home and then you are struggling to make ends meet, you don't have what to eat and all that stuff. For me, I think it's plainly stupid. And so I am a little disappointed to hear this from him, because he's one of the biggest revelations in 2020. And so the expectation was that I expected a different answer from him. The fact that, I started making some money, although it's not to the level that you or I would expect. But then some money has started coming in, and so he's financially stable. So he telling us that he's not made any money, I take it with a pinch of disappointment. However, it's not as if his career or his popularity is fizzling out soon. So when he talks about the fact that 2020 for him was the platform for a lot of people to know and see his craft, and that has been achieved. And so if he and his team have the mindset that, listen, we are going to 2021 with a view or with a strategy of making money out of the popularity that we've garnered in 2020, that's fine. Because if you check AY Poyo's rise and his following, the chunk of that following is out of Ghana, South Africa, Kenya, and Tanzania, and those Eastern African countries. And so for me, I think it's about time that they cash in, because AY Poyo in 2020 was one of the few artists that hit 1 million within a week on YouTube. And so, and usually, I mean, maybe Nerebi will be the right person to tell us this, because usually it takes a while before such revenues start kicking in. And so I'm expecting 2021 to be a good year for him in terms of revenue generation. Otherwise, what's the point?
Let me come to Vida. Let's look at the year 2020. How enthused are you about the status of the industry?
The entire industry.
I think that's really broad.
I think that's really broad. But I'll take it on the virtual shows that was introduced to us due to COVID. I mean, we couldn't get out there to jam in any of the events or any of the venues around. So for the virtual shows, I think that was also cool. We had some weird incidents also in the industry, and the Equiapim Polo naked before my son issue. I mean, we heard that the police invited him. We didn't know how.
The case was actually in court, and yes. And
the Equiapim chiefs also invited her over to the palace. I don't know how, you know, I don't know how it went with that. So from the movie point of view, I think we saw a lot of by force presenters, especially this year, because the industry was not that thriving. We saw Kokumenu's aggressive interview. Yeah. When you go to the president, what do you tell him? Because the churches were able to convince him that we will be able to maintain the COVID protocols and all that. Now churches are opened and they're having service each and every Sunday. But with the cinemas, there's also a problem with that. I heard of a drive-through
National Theatre even.
Yes. I heard of a drive-through cinema somewhere. I'm like, well, if that will help, I mean, how about those who don't have cars that they will sit in to watch? Do you have them standing on the bare ground at the venue? Won't that amount to, you know, a large number of people coming together at a place which is banned at the moment? So musically, I think it was good for the guys. I mean, if you take out the performances that they couldn't go out to do, I mean, the virtual ones were okay. A few releases here and there. The awards also, you know, the Afrobeat Song of the Year, Kelvin Boy losing to Dope Nation, walking out of the venue. Eno's loss was a big blow for some of us. And even the vocalist of the year, I was rooting for Kim Promise, and he went to MOG and all that. So if you want us to brush through the whole year, I think these are a few key points that I'll hint on.
Nene, where do you think we fell short, and where do you think we deserve a pat on the back?
So when Arnold was talking about AY Puyo, he hinted at the YouTube, right? Yeah. And when you interview him, I went online to verify what I already knew again, because he is one of the people in Ghana with the highest number of YouTube views. Yeah. He has 96 videos on YouTube, and there are some videos which are just he on the streets having fun with people. Even those ones have huge views. He has 1.7 million on some videos. Yeah. Most of his videos, which are him rapping, have over 100,000 views. Yeah. And you know, with YouTube, you can structure your affairs in such a way that you can cash out anytime you want. Whether you want it to be 2 weeks, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months. So I don't know how the structure of his payment system is, but I was expecting him to have made money a lot this year, because I know some people who don't have the number of views he has, who really cashed out this year from, you know, YouTube, because everybody was on social media, YouTube, and this year, because that was the only thing that was happening. Nobody went out, nobody could go out, especially at the beginning of the whole pandemic. Yeah, people were indoors. So I think what we did right were the artists doing virtual concerts. Shatawale did a virtual concert. Sako did a virtual concert. I think Stonebwoy did a virtual concert. Samini. And of course,
Edem also.
We are told, without having papers to prove it, that Sako there broke the internet and the system crashed.
This issue where you are.
If you try to you realize that actually
there are several reasons
you can't
why
get
that could
access.
have happened. Maybe the internet was low there. I'm saying that. I'm saying that. Okay, so Sako there broke the internet with his Black Love concert. Yeah. And Shatawale also did very good numbers with his. Stonebwoy didn't do that much numbers with his virtual concerts, but it was he did with Techno. Techno streamed it.
Really?
Yeah.
Techno as a brand or
Yeah. With that.
the phone.
No. They streamed it on their Instagram.
Oh.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, what? Beam Friday.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
No, you know, the Beam Friday actually occurred when the restrictions on events had been lifted. It was just a week or so ago.
Yeah.
You understand? So we don't consider that
As a virtual
but it was-
show.
I get it, but
Yeah.
you see, it also had live audience. People were actually
Yeah, I wasn't at the venue. The
Exactly.
live audience
Is it
wasn't.
not a one-off thing?
no. The reason why
I thought-
we're surprised that you added it to the virtual
The
content.
time where
When we
Yeah.
were
But it was being they did it as
Yeah,
a
but
virtual
wasn't
concert.
I mean,
Yeah, Techno
who
was
had it?
projecting
Who
as
had
a virtual concert.
who added it as a virtual?
that's his review though. So
And so the virtual concerts were good.
No, but fact is fact. Who
Yeah.
added it?
And-
Because that one is not a virtual.
Okay, and I think it was a comedy virtual comedy show.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
the comedy guys also did.
Yeah, they did some virtual.
and the GH Unite show, something with
I-
Shatters.
Yeah, that was the government show.
Is it a peace concert or something?
No, there was a
The
peace
GH
concert, the one that featured right after the Samini Stonebwoy Fracas.
Yeah.
They had a peace concert,
Yes.
but it didn't go well. It was almost like
Was it TV3 or something? The one that was aired on TV3, that was the Ghana Unite or something.
No. it wasn't
I
aired on
don't
TV3.
recall.
I mean,
this was
that.
Logis initiative.
Yeah.
Or Logis
And,
initiative.
okay, and this year the segment or the facet of the industry that had the most shine, of course, was comedy. Most of the comedians in the country who have been doing well but haven't really had a huge national exposure really had that exposure this year. You can talk of the biggest being Clemento Suarez, and then the next one I would say Ajeze. Ajeze also, his cover of the song was also very huge, and of course Obian Ponsa proved that he is arguably the greatest comedian in Ghana. And
but he says arguably. you know this thing. If you want to find your way out, just put arguably there.
Yeah,
and that's one you argue.
Yeah, Obian Ponsa.
I'll come to you for your best comedian.
Obian Ponsa.
Talk of Ajeze, I think the last time I heard him say he took 300 CDs for a performance or so, and I'm like, really? So with all this.
Yeah, so I'll come to where we are not doing well, right? Since you mentioned that. You see, I think the show, when it comes to talent, we have proven consistently over the years that Ghanaian artists are very talented, Ghanaian comedians are very talented, Ghanaian actors are very talented. What has been the lack over the years and still is, and still was the same this year, is we've not yet found ways of making money. I mean, those who did a virtual concerts were people who, in a good year, would have concerts anyway. So people will want to see them anyway. So those aside, the new guys who came in couldn't, I don't think any of them was able to find ways to, what was the name?
Make money.
To monetize their talent or monetize the fame they had this year. Because going back to what A.Y. Poyo said, I was shocked to hear that. So it means that very few people have been able to monetize their craft and their fame this year. And that has been a low. I don't know what the problem is, but I think that the business aspect of show has been a problem in Ghana over the years, and 2020 was no blue moon.
I did not agree with you on the
Charlie, the accolades or the adjective that he was using, it's really. I'm good he used the word arguable, because to say he's the greatest comedian
currently,
you see, that's what you have.
Oh, okay, so that was the missing word.
I mean,
okay.
Yes, I was waiting for the duration. You know, the timeline that the greatest comedian now or currently, you know, and then you add the arguable to it. But to say the greatest comedian in Ghana, hey, Bosu.
I see.
That's huge. That's huge.
That's a whole series.
Yeah.
When you want to discuss the greatest comedian, that's a whole series. Yeah.
That's where I had my issue.
Let me borrow your arguably and ask Arnold this question. Arguably, the best thing that happened to the industry is the passing of the creative industry bill.
Yep.
I mean, it's been
yeah.
that many of us expected it to be passed, and finally it's been passed.
Yeah.
But is it the trump card?
Not necessarily. I also had it on top of my list as the biggest highlights in a year for our industry, because the Creative Arts Bill is huge. It's that document that's supposed to provide that framework where the industry develops and gets to that point that we all have been yearning for. And so it's a huge mark. So big ups to every individual organization, entity that really partook in ensuring that the bill was passed into an act. But boss, let's also not kid ourselves that the passage of the bill into an act or a law makes the industry, an utopian. No, it doesn't. And I'll give you a typical example. The film bill. When the film bill was in the process of being passed, I mean, we touted that, when the film bill becomes an act and becomes a law, our film industry is going to be saved, blah, 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 blah. Here we are. Even the NFA, they don't have an office. See how long it took for the the Film Classification Committee. They are virtually redundant. I mean, they were unveiled like a couple of months ago. Up to now, we do not even know their functions. They've been left redundant. In the Film Act, there's supposed to be a film fund. Where is it? What is it being used for? And so there are lots of provisions in the Film Act that have not been fulfilled. And so if you realize, our film industry is still on a standstill. It's still teetering. It's going nowhere. However, we have a film law or a film act. So we should not be overly excited with the fact that, now we have a creative act, and all that stuff. Listen, we must ensure that the provisions enlisted in the act are adhered to. So if you check the act, or what we call the Film Act, right? Film Industry Act, there's supposed to be a board. There's supposed to be an agency. Now the council is being shifted into an agency. There's supposed to be a creative arts fund. If all these are not fulfilled, then what's the point? There are supposed to be committees, subcommittees supposed to aid the board. Are they going to be formed? Even when it comes to the agencies, there's supposed to be a breakdown. They're supposed to have department, sectors, this, that. There are lots of provisions in that act which need fulfillment. If we do not get to do that, then for me, so it's a step. It's a huge step. Let's not also derail or undermine the fact that the passing of the bill is it's a big feat. However, we must ensure that the provisions in that act that would ensure that the industry progresses are fulfilled.
Nene, let me get your take on the bill. The act is now a law. So
there's nothing Another have said. There's nothing to add to what Another have said, because one of my lecturers said something. My taxation lecturer once said that when it comes to laws, Ghana has one of the best laws in the world, right? Some of the developed countries even come to study Ghana laws to implement in their countries, because we have a lot of legal brains in Ghana who craft the most creative and most forward-thinking laws in Ghana, right? Except when it has to do with agri or tech, but that's a whole different conversation. But when those laws are passed, like Arnold rightly mentioned, the implementations of those laws seem to be where we lack. You understand? Doing what the law requires us to do never gets done. And when we set up the agencies, the committees, and those ones, of course, those ones will always get set up because party people need to be,
Okay, so let's tackle the issue head on. Why is implementation almost always the challenge?
The will is not there.
Yeah, the will is not there, and then I think it's the attitude of Ghanaians, right? There is something in law. The reason why we use precedents, right? The reason why we use precedents when you go to court is that precedent is something that people are used to. So it's easy to tell the people that every Monday our work week starts. It's not easy. It's not difficult to tell people that. But when there is no precedent and the law is new, people have a hard time adjusting to the law, especially in our country. So even though the leadership may have passed the bill and may even have the will to implement the bill. The technocrats the technocrats on the ground who need to ensure that those things in the bill are fulfilled are not usually adequately informed and adequately, what's the word I should use for money? Adequately, I don't know in terms of money, but they are not adequately informed and resourced. Okay. Yeah, are not adequately informed and resourced to implement the things that the bill requires them to. So there's that.
Okay, so if you just joined, it's Bloggers Forum here on Ghana Web TV. Today is our very final edition for the year 2020. Today is the 30th, right? Yeah, so we are doing a review of the major happenings in the world of showbiz here in Ghana. My guests, Anoda Samwabedu, Vida Chumwa Boatin, and Nenebi Tony. You've missed the AY Poyo interview if you just joined, but we have more people to interview via Zoom and telephone line. But let's continue with the discussion. I know you were mentioning that the Creative Arts Bill was one of the top events. Any other thing that you think it deserves a mention?
Yeah, the emergence of the American, vibe. For me, I thought that was, again, one of the biggest revelations that we got in 2020. Aside the entertainment value that it provided for us, it placed Kumasi also on the world map. He also projected the guys on the global stage. Most, and I said it some time ago on Peace FM, I'm sure you remember, that the merchandising, the marketing bit of, geniuses. Because even for the mainstream artists, they struggle when it comes to marketing their brands. Merchandising is a huge sector when it comes to the entertainment industry. However, you even have the likes of Bradford, Sarko there, and a few others struggle. In recent times, it's only Stoneboy and Shatawale to a certain extent that have been able to merchandise their stuff. How the Americans were able to brand the whole movement into making t-shirts, caps, flags, this, that, was for me was innovative and eye-opening. And I pray that even the mainstream guys learned one or two things from these guys. So the whole movement was huge. Now you actually have these guys charting international music charts. I mean, when was the last time any Ghanaian was able to, make inroads in this international chart? Apart from if guys like Stoneboy and co making, the billboards and stuff like that. But these guys, their first attempt, their first, inroads into the industry, they are everywhere. And for me, everywhere. Yeah, you had. I mean, we all know Shatta is smart. Shatta will not let a good opportunity pass him by. He will tap into it. So that's another topic because Shatta. Let's leave it. Let's leave that. But for me, I think that those guys really big revelation. And then the other bit for me was Sarkodie's Behind the Hits initiative. It was not original. We all know it's from the verses, Sweet Beat, Timbaland verses in US. But you see, it gave a lot of Ghanaians the opportunity to know who was behind the hits. So what he did was project the producers into a certain, spotlight. So it's Appeal who did this beat. It's Killbeats who did this beat. It's Richie Mensah who did this beat. And for me, I think that initiative. And it came in when we're in the thick of the lockdown. And so it really gave us entertainment value. Big ups to Sarko there, big ups to all the producers who gave these guys hits. For me, it was another revelation of the year. Then, of course, the female beef. Because over the years, beef, and you don't call baby. But I see the point is, I'll brush this one and I'll leave it for you.
Sometimes the brushing to you do. Okay.
Because Nenebi is a hip hop head.
Yes.
And so
yeah.
Big hip hop head in Ghana.
Crazy hip hop head.
Big hip hop head. So I can understand why it's one of his biggest topics.
Yeah.
But my point is, usually the beef and the back and forth, transpires in the male, it's like kind of a male-dominated, issue. So for the females to actually take it and run with it professionally, for me, excited me a lot. So I'll leave it there and let Nenebi take it over.
Nene, take over. The females. You say it's one of the biggest events. So Arnold has left it for you.
I would say it's one of the biggest events. I'll say it's the biggest music event, aside second to only the Americans in Ghana. Yeah, and of course it started with Sister Fia and Freda Rhymes going at each other. Then the queen of rap in Ghana, Ashada Gabli. No. Even her big sister, Miss Girl. Anyway, so the queen of rap in Ghana, endorsed the beef and decided to show the little girls how it's done. Good. And she did that. And I want to say this regrettably as a big Eno fan. I think that this year was the year Eno was supposed to have become the biggest superstar in Ghana, because all the lines were lined up for her. There was a big interest in female rap. There was a big interest in her based on how she handled herself. And of course, medical came in and she handled herself still well with a guy. So she was being projected to be the next biggest artist, or the artist. She was on the verge of becoming the artist of the year. And then she put out a song which was supposed to be her hit song, the one that had Strong Man and that girl. What's her name? No, Sister Debbie. Yeah. And that song, the first week, that song was very huge. And she put out another song with Wendy Shea, and all those songs did very well for the very few weeks they were put out, left the internet. And I don't know why. Seriously, I had a message from somebody who lives in Nigeria, and she was asking me, just 3 days ago, that why isn't Eno Baroni the biggest female act from Ghana?
Female best rapper.
And I was like, I seriously can't tell, because everything that was supposed to be done right, she did right. Because remember when she put out the video for the Argument Done?
Yeah,
we were on this show and we criticized the video. Yeah. But the video for the one with Strong Man, that video was perfectly done, and yet it still didn't fly. I don't know whether the music gods, the music gods are not ready to bless her and make her one of their prophets.
Well, if I can have a little take on that one.
Okay.
Then maybe I agree with you. You know, when we are going to get to the top 5 acts and all that stuff, for 2020 and all, and Eno was going to be on my list, and she's going to be in my list because of the level of activity within the year. Eno, Sister Fia, Famille, and a few of the top guys were very active in 2020. For the first time in her career, Eno released over how many songs? Close to 10. And every song that she released was backed by a video. And so her level of activity, no doubt about it. And I agree with Enebi that this year was supposed to be the year that Eno actually moved to a higher ground. Because everything was cooked, prepared. The minds of the people was really prepared for Eno. The hearts of the people were mellow for Eno. The fans were there. Because over the years, it felt like we've not done her well. And so even during the beef, the support for Eno was huge. Even when she was, she was pitched with medical, she still had the audience. And so what she needed to do was give us a commercial hit. She tried.
They forced them to play.
Was supposed to be
that commercial.
No, it was supposed to be a commercial hit song.
Yeah, commercial rap song.
Yes. And every other song that came after Force Them to Play Nonsense was supposed to be a commercial song.
I think just recently she put another song out with Fia.
Yes.
Even after a year, she put another one with Fia.
Freda Rhymes and Sister Fia, they came out with Saucy. Saucy was like, a commercial song.
Yes.
Right after
but it didn't blow.
It didn't blow.
Okay.
Well,
for me, I think Eno tried. Maybe the problem with her was the song selection and the time of release. Because I felt that forced them to play nonsense was premature. That's how I feel. Because, you know, after argument done and one other, we expected her to release another this song.
But for them to do nonsense was the hebras or this is.
But it was
a back-to-back kind of this.
It
song.
was,
you know, back
it was
to back. When
not,
Drake put out back-to-back.
yes.
It was a this song, but it's commercial.
Yeah, but that's not what we expected. We expected another this song to murder the
thing about
and then a commercial song
when it comes to hip hop.
Yes.
And you're a hip hop head yourself.
Of course.
You know. So usually, sometimes you want to put out a diss that no matter where the person goes, they'll hear that song. And that's the way to annihilate somebody you are ahead of.
Yeah.
You understand? When the time you are fighting with Jay-Z, you are beefing with Jay-Z. Jay-Z is not going to give you bars. You do a commercial song, give you some 3 lines on the song.
Yes,
everywhere you go.
I get it.
Like Asem's No More Pio.
Yes.
Something like that.
Yes.
And I think that's what she was trying to do with the to play nonsense.
But I mean,
but regardless, I still believe Eno should win Best Rapper of the Year 2020.
I would argue with you on that.
We will come there. Those days it was yes, we are crossing over, but those days it was Asem. When I mentioned Asem's name, that's this comes to mind. He was the one giving us the year in review thing that it was making a hit.
And this year he had the whole everyday review. He gave us a review of every single day.
Yeah. So hold on. Let's go to the phone lines. Let's speak to Peter Sedefia. Peter is a movie director. Hello, Peter. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Nice, and thanks for standing by. So 2020, how many movies did you direct?
In 2020?
Yeah, 2020, yeah.
Oh, 2020, I released just a movie.
3?
A movie, one movie.
Okay.
I mean, I've made it a tradition to release one movie a year, so obviously I released just a movie.
And doing your own assessment, how did it go for you?
Well, sincerely, I mean, a lot of people, some of the media people that came for the premiere would attest that the numbers we recorded on the...
From where you sit.
Okay, so if you are very versed in the activities of movies and film fraternity, you will know that the cinema is actually the most grossing space for filmmakers. If you take the history of the Hollywood system and the Bollywood, you realize that even they make their investment from the box office. You know, they call it the blockbuster movie. They make their investment from the box office, and then the profits come from the other distribution, from VOD to airlines to other platforms. You get it? And the situation is same or similar for Africans as well. I mean, by extension, Ghana. If you have a movie that you promote so well and they resonate with the audience, you are very likely to break even or even make very good returns at the cinemas to make back your investment, or break even sort of and make some profit. And so that has been a tradition. So if cinemas are closed and cannot be operational, then you know that your ability to break even or even make beyond your investment has already been cut off. So you now need to rely on other avenues that give you some small monies to just realize some interest or some, profit, as you put it. And that profit that you realize will not even be up to like half or a quarter of what you would have gained from the cinema. And so the closure of the cinema has been a very big blow to the filmmakers, because that is our major source of revenue from our film.
So, but for the coronavirus, do you think the movie industry would have done better, or you think there's something that industry players did not do right?
Oh, my brother, you know, there can never be a perfect system. I'll never have to and see the film fraternity in Ghana is all perfect and we are on a smooth sailing. No. I mean, we were struggling, but things are beginning to pick up. You know, the interest in films are beginning to rise. Interest in people going to the cinema also is beginning to rise, to pick up. steadily. And you could see that more and more people are now trying to stay away from home, rather get into the cinema to watch the films as they are screening because they want the cinema experience. And so when people are beginning to familiarize themselves and get accustomed with the cinema experience, coronavirus stepped in to just break that chain of experience. And so that has been it. And as I speak right now, you are aware that almost every avenue or every venue or every venture has been allowed to operate except the cinema and few other places. Of course, those few other places, they have other sources of income. But the cinema is cinema. That is where you make your money. And for 9 months now, it has been shut. And so, one best what really our filmmakers to expect in terms of their revenue projections or revenue earnings in the filmmaking space. So that is where we are at the moment.
Okay. What do you think we've not done right? And moving into 2021, how do we rectify that to make progress?
What do I think we've not done right?
Yes.
Over the years, I think that the lack of policy framework to guide our filmmaking venture, very, let me see, a reliable one. Because, of course, everyone with money wants to see a system that is running, that is very regulated to invest in, because they want to be sure that their investments are safe and return on investment is also guaranteed. And so if we don't have a well structured system that is regulated like other advanced countries, even for instance our neighbor Nigeria has a very regulated film industry. And so when you invest your money, you know where to go to, which channels to pass it to, and how to chase your, let me say, your producers for the money that you invested. I mean, all those things are laid down, but we don't have that in Ghana yet. And so, yes, of course, we had the National Film Authority coming in. I mean, those things being passed, the film bill also being passed and things like that. I'm hoping that in 2021, all those things will begin to operationalize, and then we see the effect of it, so that people respect contracts more, people respect the film fraternity, people respect the art of filmmaking. Making also is brought on board, so people understand that film is just not an art, or it's not just an art, but also a business. And that if it's a business that is worth investing in to make good returns, I would invest in it. So that people with money would pay some attention to us and help grow our industry. But as it is now, everyone is just doing what you want to do. I'm a freelance filmmaker. I pick my camera, get my crew, and I go to film. Someone also gets up in that same, and we keep doing that to keep the industry running until that time that we have a well-regulated in place.
All right, Peter, thank you so much for speaking to us, and we wish you the very best in the coming years.
Thank you so much for having me.
Peter Sedufia is a movie director, and he's one person who swept like 6 or 7 awards when he was at NAFTI way back in 2006, 2007, thereabouts. Yeah. So, yeah, a very fantastic producer, movie director. So, let's take a break. When we return, it's a very quick break. When we return, we'll talk about the closure of the cinemas very briefly, and then we'll move on to do our own listicles. Now, I'm sure those who have been reading our website, if you go to ghanaweb.com, we are producing some stories. We have our Summer of the Year. We have the Player Footballer of the Year, controversial stories for 2020, our top songs, top artists, big headlines, a whole lot. And then Face the Wall. Yes, Ghana Web Face the Wall of the Year. I know Canada, Japan, we win here. It's the award that is given to the personality who should feel ashamed of himself. You bow down your head in shame. He won for saying that they will burn Mahama in the house. Yeah. So there are more stories. Log on to www.ghanaweb.com. We take a short break. We'll return and continue with the conversation.
The presenter asked him was a dumb question. You need to speak the fact and move.
So I would disagree with everything you said. I think that he's a smart guy. I think what he did.
No, but I also said he's a smart guy.
Yeah.
I guess that I'm waiting for the what next.
Yeah, I don't think that we have to wait for what next.
Today you're funny face.
It's not my brother.
I don't know him. You don't know funny face. It's not my brother. You don't know funny face. Me from TV3 incident to you see me na me face a plan. Me who say be for me who say as I'm planning. Because I say a back for my TV3 buy ya boom.
Yeah.
Na ko yiti ya me patcho. O patcho say. O patcho. Obi abo.
The question the presenter asked him was a dumb question. You need to speak the fact and move.
So I would disagree with everything you said.
Right, so we are back. Welcome back to the show. It's Bloggers Forum here on Ghana Web TV, a very final edition for the year 2020. We are reviewing the activities that happened in 2020. My name is Abrantipa. Anoda Samwabedu, Vida Duchumwa, Boatin, and Nenebi Tony are my guests. So before we went on the break, we spoke with movie producer, movie director, Peter Sedufia, and he was talking about the cinemas that have been closed. Let me get a quick remark from my panelists, 2 minutes each, and then we zoom to top artists, top songs, collabos, and discoveries. Then we end the show. Let me begin with Nenebi. The closure of the cinemas and the cry of movie producers.
I don't think there's anything fundamentally wrong with the closure of the cinemas if you believe COVID is dangerous and so people should not be crowded in the what's the name? Cinema. In a place which is enclosed. Yes, so that is that, because I think there are people even in government who have interest in the cinema business. And so if it was about financial overhealth, I'm sure those people are in positions to lobby for cinemas to remain open. But I think that the reason why events which are outdoors are allowed to go on was because with cinemas, most cinemas are closed and for the aircon and all that.
Yeah.
So because of that, it's easy for COVID to circulate in the room. So all over the world, cinemas are still not opened. And from articles I've been reading and from podcasts I've been listening to, it looks like even in 2021, it's going to take a while for the cinema business to bounce back. However, the movie business in Ghana, I think Netflix have done Ghana a big disservice, because before Netflix came to Ghana, there seemed to have been a growing local streaming websites and apps that seemed to be on the app. And then when Netflix came, it shut down everything. And it's very hard to compete with a global brand because they have more leverage than you do. And Netflix tend to only buy Ghanaian movies, mostly Ghanaian movies which has Nigerians in them, or with recognizable Ghanaian faces, like, a movie by Shelley or Yvonne Nelson is easy to market to Netflix. But for the other producers, it's very hard to market those movies to Netflix, because Netflix Ghana market is not, in maybe Netflix estimation, big enough to warrant a movie. That's not going to cut across to other parts of the world.
If you look at the concerns that the movie producers, those who are in the movies are saying, there have been events that have been held in the cinemas. The National Theatre is open. So why is it that we can't show movies?
National Theatre is a bit different from the cinemas.
Okay, so how about political and seminars that have been held at the cinemas? How different is it from showing movies?
I don't know why cinemas are still closed as compared to the rest, but you see, the thing is, even on the global scene, there have been very little releases which are released directly to cinema. So there is the concern of, would cinema business be able to be sustainable? Because most cinemas show like maybe 8 movies a day. How many movies can you get to show within those 8 times? Is it a viable business option to you? If you're a businessman, will you do that? when there are only like 2 movies being released these days.
I've been wondering if the cinemas are closed and the churches are opened, why don't you take the movies to the churches to show?
No, that's not the way. They do not want that cinema environment.
Yeah,
but the churches,
very different.
if we are operating from the churches, I mean, some churches do a PowerPoint presentation and virtual preaching. It's just like watching a movie. Yeah. So why don't we consider?
No, but it's one of the reasons Kobe Rana's movie showing was cancelled.
Yes.
Because he was not even doing it within the cinema. He wanted to do it in the school. But
already the school, even the churches are not being allowed to operate in the schools per the last directive that was given.
I think it's a venue problem. So if the churches are operating, I mean, they should think out.
The church are supposed to be. We are not supposed to be in church for more than an hour.
Yes, so the movie not two hours. And you're not supposed to have more than 200 people at a time. So you regulate the people coming in.
No, the number of figures, the figures, I think it was also lifted.
President, I think we had a conversation with him earlier this year, and we were telling him that there are challenges. Does he agree that COVID has brought so and so challenges to us? He said, no, there are no challenges. There are even streaming sites for Ghanaian movies. So people can put their movies on there and stream and get the money. And we asked, how is it done? How? So no, there are scientific reasons. I can't really give you, details on radio. So, come see me later. I mean, when you have leaders, excuse me to say it like this, it makes it difficult for you to appreciate what is happening and how best you can contribute to, help the industry. Bella Samoa says something else. They are fulfilled. Their people are venturing into other things. And he being the 5-pack president, there are no challenges at all. The system is smooth. I commend Peter Sedufia. I think I've heard him say that he translates his movies into French, Arabic, and other international languages so that people can also buy. I mean, I think it's something that the other producers should also take advantage of. Now, bro, full translation, because sometimes when you see the English on the screen, so when you introduce such things to very, very local producers now Daniel. So now we are stuck to the cinema culture, and right now you can't operate with it. You don't have translated versions of your movie to sell out there. So what do we do now? Into the leadership, they should check some things.
Arnold, you have an antidote for the Ariana.
For me, let me commend Peter Sedufia. I think he's a gem. This year we've been going back and forth with having a national film village. And the minister has been virtually confused as to where to actually fix that film village. The narrative has changed over the period. Today we have mounting it here, the next day we are mounting it there. However, Peter Sedufia was able to fix a film village on his own. For the movie Aloe Vera, he went all the way to somewhere in the water region to fix a film village, an individual. He was able to fix it. So it gives you the idea that an individual with the proper funding can do a film village. How much? Yes. Yeah. Exactly. He's late, right?
Yeah.
He's late.
He was trying to.
Yeah. So for me, big ups to him. And I can understand his pain and his frustration, just like the other movie makers, when they're unable to showcase their movies in the cinemas. I slightly disagree with Nenebe when he says, or he's asking as to whether the cinema culture is a viable venture. It is.
Not generally in the COVID era.
Well, of course.
I mean, you see, we're talking about. This year is specifically different from every other year.
Yeah.
This year, the cinemas are closed because of the COVID. So is it a viable venture now?
Again, you do not qualify with the now. So
because we are reviewing 2020. We are reviewing 2020.
No, but you see, the point is, the pandemic is still with us. Let's not know.
And
however,
it was to until 2022.
Good, but it was intense at a certain point. And so I need that clarity as to whether you are saying it when it was very intense, and when restrictions, lockdowns have been.
We've had to sell CDs in the streets.
You understand?
Of course.
Because when it was intense, every cinema across the world was shut down.
Yes.
However, when restrictions were lifted, even the countries that had high numbers. They've opened their cinemas.
Yeah, Nigeria, for instance.
They've opened their cinemas as way back as June, July. So you understand?
But still, most of those businesses, some of those franchises that open cinema, are actually closing some of their cinemas entirely. One company closed 40 cinemas.
Is it happening in Nigeria or not?
No. What is happening is the companies that took the risk to open the cinemas had financial blowout from that.
We get all that.
That's what I'm saying, whether it's still viable to do that.
Of course.
What else do you have?
Of course it is. So for me, you see, because COVID is still with us, you need to give the lawmakers some slack. Because I always say that they are not stupid. They all, before they take decisions, I'm sure there's a thorough, discussion, consultation, deliberation before they say, okay, now let this decision go. So they are not stupid. So let's give them some slack and say, maybe they've considered all other options and they figured that being in an enclosed environment for these number of hours will not inure to our benefit with regard to COVID. However, there's something very confusing. Because when you check around, other related events, restaurants, night clubbing, and here,
campaigns.
And the ones that are at enclosed areas, the pubs, night
clubs.
I
mean, in recent times, in
night clubs, is it not the president just lived there?
Oh,
no, you
forget.
See,
I'm told they have these people are having
the
issues.
reality is that
Twist is having some issues with the authority because people were not in masks. People with masks, people are not wearing masks when the
reality is that
went
it's
viral.
happening. It's happening. It's just that you see this. If you want to premiere your movie in the cinemas, you have to make noise about it.
Forcing you to defend COVID regulations when I'm not even in favor of them.
They are working. It is quite confusing because even this festive period, we all saw events. And now people were bunched together, were following the safety protocols and all. So you're like, because in your mind or in our minds, you figure that the cinemas will be controlled. Because every patron will be wearing masks. There will be distances, 1 meter, whatever distance between the patrons. So why are we still putting restrictions on the cinemas?
I think that is why.
Especially when you consider what is transpiring in other,
That is why I say
it doesn't make sense.
Those representing them are not doing.
Come on.
What are they telling the president that's making him continue to lock up the cinemas? They should check that.
Okay, we move on to the final part of the show. We are doing our top artists, popular songs, discoveries, and collaborations. And so, let me start with Arnold.
Yes, sir.
Top artists.
Okay. So
top 5.
Top 5.
Yes.
Top 5 artists of the year. First is Stonebwoy. Stonebwoy has attained a very big year. When COVID hit, one of the active artists who really was working was Stonebwoy. I mean, we've seen the streaming numbers. I mean, streaming numbers do not really, translate into cash because if you say if your song streamed 1 million times, doesn't mean you have $1 million or 1 million Ghana cedis. However, his level of activity in that digital space was very impressive. Songs off the Anglonga Junction album were huge, from collaborations with Zlatan, Kerry Hilson, virtually every song off that album was a huge song.
Every song was good except one we could
that was probably promoted, but I think it was.
I think every song was good sonically except the one we could.
Okay, I won't argue with you on that one. But Stonebwoy did well, and then he added Putu. Huge viral song. Huge viral song. And what excited me about Stonebwoy's activity was the videos. Videos were coming left, right, center, and
they were nice videos.
Quality videos. Stonebwoy's activity from the start of the year till now. When it comes to events, he gave us the Beam Friday. Recently did Activate Party. So for me, Stonebwoy is on top of that list. Second on my list is Sarkodie. Sarkodie had an intriguing year. For the first quarter of the year, he was locked down in US. But guess what he did? He gave us Behind the Hits. He was giving us stuff to talk about, controversy with Shatawali, his issues with Asem, was giving us Sub-Zero, he was giving us songs, left, right, center. He came down, he did Black Love, virtual concert, one of the biggest virtual concerts in the year. After that, he gives us what? Happy Day. And so Sarkodie's level of activity and his prominence in the year was huge. Third on my list, medical. Huge. Medical, personally, did not have a lot of hit songs. But he was able to jump on virtually everybody's else songs. He was all over the place. All over the place. And you see, the good thing about medical and his claim to Artist of the Year next year is the fact that you don't need 4 or 5 hit songs. You only need one. Just one. And so for me, he also comes into that list. Then I have Keche.
No darling.
This season is Keche season. And I'm excited for Keche because of what they've gone through over the years. So, Keche, Group of the Year, Obiano Monpreho. But their claim for Artist of the Year, they should make it. Because in the last quarter of the year, Keche has really done well as a group. Now, I would shift. These are the top guys who would, if they make a claim for Artist of the Year, you will not argue. But there were other artists who did very well. An artist like Famille. Big songs. 2020, big songs from Famille. Calvin Boy was huge. In the might not have had a monster hit, but he had appreciable hits. And his level of activity, just like Stonebwoy, very active. He had shows, and he even bought cars. You know, he was buying cars two at a go, and all that stuff. I mean, he had a very good year. Sister Faye had a good year as well. Level of activity was on a high. Eno Baroni, you know, and a few others. So for me, I think these are my top guys when it comes to artists.
Has dealt with the artists.
And Eno as well. Eno too had a very good year.
So I'll hit on the songs.
Okay. No, we'll come back to the songs. Unless, of course, you are saying that.
I agree with that.
Okay. So hold on.
I wanted him to add Kiddy.
Okay,
good. Kiddy.
Say cheese.
No. And then
enjoyment.
Kiddy had a good year.
Kiddy can
That's
also,
true.
you know.
No. Kiddy would give your medical a run for his money for Artist of the Year.
Yes.
Because you're not a hit.
So
Kiddy had a good year.
We'll come to the songs.
Yeah,
Nene, your top artist, top 5.
I don't think Kwame usually.
I don't like the way Anna pointed me and said you're medical.
I see what I'm about to say is disputable. Undisputably, the biggest artist in 2020
is our medical.
Without arguments, it's medical.
Okay.
Disputable now.
It's undisputably. You see, for you to be considered artist of the year, you should have a song, a hit song, a monster hit song. In 2020, it's important that the song be memorable. It's important that we can make gifts out of the song. It's important that we can use the song in ordinary conversations. And how many times today are we to hear anybody say, Okay. So I'm trying to say, the point is that the song, La Hustle, is my opinion, the biggest song of the year.
That's not true.
And I'm a hip hop head. I don't listen to anything else.
For the first time,
there's that.
And
for the first time, this is your opinion.
The first
you do your artist.
And medical, aside the music side, had a very news-heavy year. With his marriage,
childbirth,
the beefs,
the podcast,
even the signing of Pinama.
The dashing of gifts, his endorsement deals, and every single day or every other day, medical is giving people things to talk about.
My sweet ex and all those things.
And he has been the center of attention from the beginning of the year till date. And I don't see anybody else you can put on the list who outside of music, who is a musician outside of music, had the level of activities medical had in a year. I mean, Kiddy had a good year, but Kiddy
he had a bad last quarter.
Yes, but Kiddy is a music star, full stop. Kiddy is not a superstar celebrity the way medical is.
Okay.
So there's a category definition.
You see,
if you
for music, if you're an artist,
there's a category definition. If you make
an artist of the year, you should be able to make
it doesn't
news.
add up to you being
You should make music. He made music and made news.
No,
that is not part of the category definition.
We are not discussing personality of the year.
It is
artist of the year.
Good. So
artist of the year should be able to make songs.
No, I get
and make news.
No.
It's not part of the definition.
You are mixing
it's not part of the definition.
That's why I say we are not doing personality of the year. We are doing artist of the year. And so the news that you're able to generate should be of the music.
Yes.
Of the song.
You see, there are some people who I'm coming.
You can't tell me because somebody
who generated, who had news that are not put on my list.
You can't tell me because you had a baby, I should give you the artist of the year.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah, I'm trying to say that
are just add-ons.
There are some people who had a good year in terms of being in the news every time, like Asem.
No.
But didn't have any song. Didn't have any songs.
No.
Didn't have any hit songs.
So what are you saying? Why are you comparing oranges with pineapple?
This your analogy.
My point is, Medical had a good year in terms of music.
End it.
And in terms of
don't add it.
Don't add the news.
had news.
We are talking about the work that you did.
Yes, music.
The news there.
He is a superstar. He's supposed
We agree.
Okay, so
We agree.
medical.
Because he bought cars for people, we cannot say he's the artist of the year.
You see, the point is, if he bought cars and didn't make music to back it,
forget about that. Let's move to number 2.
And number 2 on my list, I'll give it to the Asaka Boys.
Okay.
And the Asaka Boys.
Who's the Asaka Boys?
The Americans.
The Yebe Sorry song.
Yeah.
Probably is the only song that can rival La Hustle for the song of the year. And the Asaka Boys had a good year in the sense that that's number 2.
If you can be quick.
Number 3, Eno Baroni. And number 4, I'll say Stone Boy. And okay.
Well, you said you were making a vacuum.
I was about to say somebody else, but let me say number 5. Let me say Kiddy.
Okay. Finally, Kiddy made.
Oh, I managed to check on
Kiddy made it to your list. Because of time, let's just hit on the
just the songs without explanation.
Our selection, and then we'll go. So let's Discovery. Let me come to Vida. Discovery.
You should give a Discovery. He's a
okay.
Discovery
Yes,
chief.
Arnold, your Discovery.
So Discovery Kamedo.
Okay.
Kamedo. I mean, huge. I mean, he's been playing at weddings more, but I mean, that guy did well in 2020. LaRusso. LaRusso also is on my list as Discovery. And then there's PY.
AY Poyo.
No.
PY. Busum Pion. Yeah.
Busum Pion is on my list. AY Poyo is on my list. And then the Comerican guys. I don't know whether I should give it to Yao Talk or Kenneth hasn't got a song, but he's the biggest revelation among the Comerican group. So Yao Talk would come into that list as well.
Okay. Nene.
And then Jackie, Nane Champon's kid. Yeah, huge as well. I am tempted to add Mishasha, but she will be a wild card.
Ako number 7.
Okay, wild card.
Nene, Discovery.
There's very little I can change about that, except for the fact that I will make the Asaka Boys, instead of naming one person, I'll name the Asaka Boys Discovery of the Year. And they are the number 1 on the list for me, and everybody else on his list.
Okay.
And who's you mentioned somebody before you mentioned Jackie.
LaRusso?
Yeah, is it LaRusso? Yeah, I'll take him out of.
Or Busum Pion.
No, it was Busum Pion.
Okay. So let me do my list. Then Asaka Boys will be number 1. Busum Pion will be number 2. AY Poyo will be number 3. And Jackie will be number 4. Just those 4. Yeah.
Okay, so popular songs.
Yeah.
I can begin with you now.
Yes.
Top 5, but you have to choose
my favorite.
One.
So I'll go for Putu. Already, No Darling.
Already was last year, 2019.
No, I mean, okay, with the video.
It's the video that came.
Yeah. Okay, so let me take Already out. So Putu, Already, No Darling, Enjoyment, and Everlasting.
Okay.
From Stoneboy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which one is your...
My take?
Yes.
I'll go for Everlasting.
Everlasting.
Yeah, from Stoneboy.
Okay. Arnold?
Okay, so
top 5 songs.
Top 5.
Yes.
2 is in the list. Open Gates by Kwame Eugene is on that list. No Darling by Keche is on the list. Happy Day by Sarkodie is on the list. And then La Hustle is also on the list. But then my biggest song for 2020, No Darling by Keche.
No Darling. Okay. I'm surprised you did not mention Adam Hamilton.
These are the biggest songs.
Okay. Because I know he would definitely not mention.
These are the biggest
and
songs.
Since
if you are giving me top 10.
Top 10.
Then
Okay.
I've added it.
No wonder you chose Bosom Pion. Nene, your top 5.
Pion started the year very well.
Yes, true.
Yeah, the very first week of January, he gave
First
us.
quarter was huge.
Yeah, Atajwa. But then, yeah, so there's Atajwa, there's La Hustle, there is Sorry, there is Open Gates, and then there is Putu. Yes, that's what it is. And my biggest song, obviously, would be La Hustle by Medical.
Yeah,
MBK, Artist of the Year 2020. Nobody should argue that point.
Go and sit down.
Okay, we're wrapping up. Final comment. Maybe you may want to add your expectations for 2021, and then we'll go. Let me start with Nene. Your final words.
Okay, so comedy did very well in 2020, and hopefully, as we are speaking right now, Ireland, the presidency is having the cabinet meeting, and it's likely to open the country more.
Open the country more, as in what?
Open the country more, as in the country there will be more human activity in the country, because the Minister of Information is suggesting that schools will be opening in January. So if schools open in January, it's likely there will be more commercial activities for comedy.
Okay.
So I expect comedy to be bigger in 2021. I expect to see more comedy shows. And that's my biggest expectations on comedy. Everything else will be as it is. Nothing is going to change really in Ghana.
Okay, Vida.
But I think for 2020, we should, clap for ourselves as entertainment pundits. We managed to shift ample attention on the creatives. I mean, this year we had a debate on the sector alone, and representatives from various parties sat down to debate what they intend to do to, help the industry progress. So thumbs up to them. The political parties also gave us the needed attention, and we had the Dumelos and the others also vying for positions that made people turn their attention on us. So 2020, we are looking forward to, now the MPP has won the elections, we are looking forward to the 18-pointer policies that they have stated in their manifesto. We are looking forward to having all of them ticked, so that when we come back here next 4 years, we'll have things to actually say about what they intended to do, whether they've done it or not. On AY Poyo, Arnold was like, he's still confident that he can still make the waves he made this year. I feel for him it is 2020 or, never. I mean, if you didn't get the money that much this year, style the chains, the face. What else can you give us different that will make me, put my last coin on you? I mean, we've seen it all from AY Poyo when it comes to his branding. So maybe he needs to give us something different. He can try stand-up comedy. I mean, whenever he's having a regular conversation with you, you can't help it. You laugh. So he should try something else in that direction. With a film bill, the Creative Arts Bill, we are still waiting for the president to assent it. I mean, he's been in town for some time now, but we've not heard anything. We received a 26-page document purportedly being what the framework is or what has been put down. We don't know whether it's the final document. But if that is the final document, then there are a few things that they need to work at, because even the formation of the board, they have 14 groups of people with respect to the various sectors in the industry. And 7 people will be able to, sit on a particular board for renewable after 4 years. So
this is your closing remark.
No, I'm just, but you didn't give me the opportunity to talk about it escaped. So
what she has written, which must see. No.
There's a possibility.
I remember asking you.
No, I didn't touch on that. I didn't touch on that.
So you decided to touch on something else. But I mean, let's hear.
See you. So there's a possibility that 7 people from the various groups of the industry might sit on the board for a number of 8 years. We are pleading that if the first batch of 7 do their tenure, we should give the other 7 also the opportunity to sit on the board so that various activities will be covered fully when it comes to the industry. I'm hoping for Shatta and Stonebwoy's band, VGMA band, to be lifted so that we can, you know, enjoy the show in full vim. I wish Famille well. Yes, we are praying for you. Yes, I wish him well.
Mankayo. Ogidi
we
Brown.
Wish him well.
Ogidi Brown and Famille, okay.
We wish him well. I hope to see him in the next 2 weeks.
Okay. I mean, in case you don't know, so Ogidi Brown, who is the former manager and producer of Famille, say ordinary beja date or the beja, so I'm fancy car mena
50K. Come here, no me there just.
Fund, go fund me, Mr. Everybody should put money in that go fund me.
I know they are.
Well, I slightly disagree with Ryder on the AYPO bit. I do not know what he has to change. I mean, telling him to move to comedy is an indictment. No. For me, I think I say it as an indictment. You are saying say wapim music.
I'm not saying so wapim.
No, they say
comedy better.
One can say. Okay, say on diversify no comedy.
On way kakra.
Because when you're having regular
again, it's clarity. Because no, seriously, because entertainment. So you actually have superstars in music moving into movies and vice versa, going into comedy and all. So okay, say advice and say on family income it's fine. But okay, say the brand on we are no because what should they do with their brand? This is what he is. So we should accept him and accept the songs that he produces, and then he's good to go. He can do the art movies and other stuff, endorsement, that's fine. My advice to these guys is their ability to solidify their brands. Because in the COVID season, there were few acts that were comfortable. And they were comfortable because of how they've placed their brands to the point where they attracted a lot of endorsement deals. So a Stonebwoy was comfortable because he had techno, he had boss energy drink, he has that and that. A Sarkodie was not comfortable, but they were better than most because they had deals that they relied on. And so moving into 2020, these acts should know that when we are talking about revenue generation for acts or within the entertainment industry, endorsement deals is key. And so you should be able to put yourself in that position where you would attract those deals. 2, innovation. These guys should be able to think outside the box. And that's how come you realize that most of them were doing virtual concerts. It has come to stay. What are you doing with that digital space that you have? Are you able to generate money? That's why we are saying we're disappointed with the URPO saying, listen, I've not made a lot of money, but all these, inroads that he's done on digital space, that's bad. And so moving in 2021, maximize that space and ensure that you make a lot of money from that space.
Right, so that's another Asamoah Bedu.
Because I was going to wrap up in 1 minute and then they talked. Let me ask you this.
Yes, sir.
At the beginning of the year, I felt like Shatta Wale, we came into 2020 with Shatta Wale as the biggest artist in Ghana. And then we are going out of 2020 with Shatta Wale no more the biggest artist in Ghana. What do you think about that?
According to your standards.
Did Shatta Wale have any hit song this year?
It's not the first time.
Yeah, of course, it's not the first time.
I mean, so I don't see anything special.
He even raised people based on news. Shatta Wale too made news, so he's still the biggest artist.
It's about news and songs.
So he made news.
Because I felt like that's something I was thinking about. I never really about that.
So Nenebi's situation, I mean, it's not the first time an artist will be big in the previous year and will not see top the subsequent year. So yes, thank you for watching. Thanks to Arnold Asamoah Bedu. Arnold writes for entertainmentgh.com. Vida Educhumwa Boatin is a columnist. Nenebi is a columnist. Thanks to all the panelists who have been coming from the beginning of the year. Naneyao 18, Kobe Che, Zion Felix, All of them. The list is a tall one. Thank you for coming to grace the occasion. Thanks to the production team, Sandra, Ima, Eben, Bernard, Kwame, Adom, Benjamin. Thanks to Benis. Yes, Benis is looking sporty today. Thanks to Benis for sitting in some time ago. Thanks to everyone. Thanks to management for this platform. And who else have I left out? I don't know if I've left anybody else out. Mekan's accountant, Abekiniti. Thanks to the accountant. Yeah. Thank you. And I'm sure next year we'll be back with a nice edition of the show, Bloggers Forum on Ghana Web TV. My name is Benefo Boabin Abrantepa. We table issues relating to the arts and entertainment for a riveting discussion, of course, without fear nor favor.
The question the presenter asked them was a dumb question. You need to speak the fact and move.
Varied views. We agree to disagree.
So I would disagree with everything you said. I think that he's a smart guy. I think what he did.
No, but I also said he's a smart guy.
Yeah.
I guess that I'm waiting for the what next.
Yeah, I don't think that we have to wait for what next.
It sometimes gets confrontational, but that's the beauty of the game.
Today funny face.
It's not my brother.
I don't know him. You don't know funny face.
It's not my brother.
You don't know funny face.
Humor, we've got you covered.
Me from TV3 incident, to you see me na me first a plan. Me who say be for me who say as I'm planning. Because I say back from my TV3 buy boom.
Yeah.
Na ko YouTube ya me patcho. O patcho say. O patcho. Obiabo.
It's a package. We meet, we sit, we dialogue, we learn, we progress. My name is Benefo Boabin Abrantepa, a proud blogger, and this is my forum.